Hello and welcome. So this is the Fender 68 Custom Deluxe Reverb that we did in part one. We saw it was, remember, it was blowing the fuse occasionally as it was switched on. We'd taken the doghouse off and we could see that the original IC caps were in there. The customer decided that he'd like these removing and obviously putting some caps in, so we've ordered those, and those are here from Modulus Amplification. So we're going to put those in, and then now the customer had these tubes put in and he's still got the old ones, and I was suddenly thinking the other day, and I thought, I wonder if he's got the old rectifier tube. So gave him a call and he had, so he's dropped that off. So what we're going to do is replace the rectifier tube, and because this JJ one may be causing that fuse blowing problem, so we're going to just replace that while we're at it, and then just see how we go with it. So right, so I've got the caps in there. So we've got 220 to 100 volts, 47 at 500 and 322s at 500 in there. So we'll get the doghouse lid on there. We've got the gumption in there, the silicon holding those in, and obviously they sat on some silicon as well. So that's ready to go. So we'll get the lid on it. Now we're going to check the bias on this amp, because the customer says this amp sounds a bit muddy, and that could be the speaker that's in it. Obviously we're going to change that rectifier tube, but we're going to up the bias a little bit on this. I've got a feeling it's running really cold. Now you can see the transformer's not massive on this amplifier, so, and we're going to check the schematic, because I think the recommendation is 24 milliamps idle per tube. And we've got a couple of 6v6s there. So obviously we're going to run this up first on the current limiter, bring it up on different size bulbs, so we're not shocking these caps to life. We're going to put that rectifier tube in, as I've said, change that, and see where we are with this amp. But hopefully changing that rectifier tube, we won't have any more fuses blowing. I still suspect that rectifier, that JJ rectifier, but I could be wrong. Right, we've got that meter there, and we're going to bring this up on the bulbs now. So we're going to check very carefully, make sure we don't have any shorts or any problems. Right, so the rectifier tube's just building up there. There we go, and you can see that building up slowly. So the slow start GZ34s, so that, you see that coming up there now. And we've got a 40 watt bulb in there, and we're just going to let that rise. Let's get this going. So that's the HT voltage we've got there, and we've got 104 volts going into the amp. So we've got that cooking. Oh, we've got sound already, look at that. No messing. 101 volts, and we've already got sound coming in there. So 167 plate volts. So we'll only have we'll probably have about just less than 3 volts on the filament. So quite surprised that's fired up, but there it is. We're just going to let that sit for a few minutes, just to bed these caps in. You can see, if we just look up there, you can see the signal generator there, 1 kilohertz sine wave going in. So yeah, that's looking good. So just going to put another 15 in with that, and then we'll have 55 watts of current limiting, and that'll bring us up a little more, and you can hear the volume of the amp coming up now. So just need to turn down again. 209 now we've got. 208, tubes conducting a little better. So you see that dropping, and the preamp tubes will be conducting a little better. See it dropping now. We've got 125 volts going into it. It actually, if we just move the camera, move the camera across, you might and down a little. You can see that in the corner there. So we're drawing 140 milliamps, and we've got 124 volts going into it. 18.2 watts we've got there. So that's all looking very good. It is very good indeed. Very good. So we'll take out the 40 and put in a 60. That gives us 75 watts. So now you can see the voltage is going up a bit more. Now up to 250 volts. 170 milliamps we're drawing, so no problems. And we have got that other rectifier tube in there now, the original Fender one, which was in the amp when it was new, which I'm sure will still be fine. Certainly better than the JJ one. So you can see that we're really starting to draw some current on the tubes now. That's dropped slightly there. So that's looking pretty good. It is. So we'll pull the 15 and put the 40 in with the 60. That gives us 100 watts. And it's going up again now, up to 282. But again, back down again because the tubes are conducting better. Drawing 200 milliamps now, 34 watts. So that's all looking good. So we had some very, very useful comments on this, on the part one of this. And I had, after I'd recorded this video, I did do a bit more checking, but one of the guys left a comment on the channel, which was really good of him. Those three wires that are snipped off there, if you watch part one, the three wires there were snipped off. Let's just turn that down. Those three wires, there's three wires on there, they were snipped off, and you could actually see them on, you could just about, let's just go across a bit with this so we could see this board here. So this board here, so there's a blue wire snipped off and a black wire and a red wire, and this is the tremolo. And because these are not allowed under EU rules, without going into politics or anything, but these are not allowed. So the amps couldn't be imported into the EU with this on, and we were part of the EU. But I'm not getting into that debate. And not on this channel, we don't do politics. But anyway, so what the last tech that worked on this amp, he disconnected this reverb because it was noisy, and he put the original doofra in there. And why is it whenever I'm filming I look at something and then can't remember what roach? He's put the original roach in there with the flashing bulb in there. And you all know what those are, you've watched enough videos on them. So he converted it to that, and that's why those wires are off of there. So I did actually go away and work that out later on, but the guy still left the comment for everybody else to read that, so thanks for that, appreciate it. The voltage from the bias winding must be running this tremolo thing that they had on here. It just floated around again. So this board here, this was the original tremolo board. So the voltage from the bias winding on the transformer must have been running this as well, hence why the bias wires are connected to here, and we've got a couple of wires coming down here feeding the bias voltage back in the AC. So that's what was going on there. It was a bit confusing when I looked at that. So that you're kind of thinking, is what's this, a bias mod? No, all this is this is a tremolo board, and it just uses the voltage from the winding on the bias. And so because they put the bias feed straight into this board there to then bring another feedback down to here. So on the non-EU models, the big, that you can see these two thick, one's red blue and the other one is red yellow, they are here on the board on the non-EU models and the American models, but they've obviously moved this to put this in for the EU. They've put these feeds up onto there, so some of the feeds have had to come down to where they would have been on the non-EU one. That was a lot of waffle. Right, let's get back to this, because it's been patiently sitting here at 282 volts, and I'm sure it would like to go into full swage, and I don't see any reason why it can't. So we are now going to go to 160 watts on the bulbs, and that should bring it up nicely now. There we go, 334, that's come up to 250 milliamps being drawn, 48 watts. So that's looking good. Current's going up all the time now. The tubes are really beginning to cook. That's excellent. So we'll now remove the 60 and put the other 100 in. So we've got 200 watts of current limiting now, and the voltage is now going into the amps, gone over 200 volts, 210, 354. So that's looking good. All looking good. So we brought those up nice and steady. Yeah, everything looks right. Nothing getting hot. So that's good stuff. So we'll have another 50 watts of current limiting. So now we're on 250. You see that just went down for a second as I whipped one of the bulbs out. So now we've got 227 volts going in and up to 386. So that's all looking very good. And I'm just going to whip out the other 100 and put the other 150. So we've got 300 watts of current limiting, and I'm now getting 231 volts on this amp. So I'm in the 230 volt window, but I still have some protection. Right, you can see the meter there. I've took the readings across each side of the output transformer from centre tap, and we've got brown 197R and blue is 198.2, so 198. So there's only an ohms difference between them, so that's okay. So I'm now connected across the centre tap and one side of the transformer, which is brown on there. So we're gonna got the bulbs on to start. We're going to switch on, and we're going to measure the voltage drop across the across that side of the transformer, and you can see that it's coming up now. I know it says -4, but that's because the probes, it depends which way you put the probes. We'll just turn that off as well. So we can call that 4 volts. So the maths is pretty simple on that. We just take that 4 volts and divide it by the resistance of the winding on that side of the transformer, which is 197. And that's 20 milliamps, so I was right, they are running a bit low. And we can work the dissipation out afterwards, but the dissipation should be, because actually these are a V6 S's, so they dissipate at 14 watts and not 12. So before we do any adjusting, we're going to switch off, and now we're going to test the other side. Again, just fire up on the current limiter in case cover mistakes. On we go. Bulbs aren't lit, no problem. Let's go off the bulbs and let's just see what we've got. So that's climbing up there. So have we got a good match? It's looking, I don't know, looking like it. 3.94, I think we're going to be over 4 coming up. Oh, I don't know, that's a pretty good match. Give it a few minutes to warm up, but that's looking pretty good, isn't it? So 3.91, but we have got just a tad more resistance on this side of the transformer. So 198.2. So let's just look at that. So that we'll call that 3. Where's that getting to? We'll call that 3.8. It's going down a bit now. 3.8 divided by 198. 19.5. So this side's a little down, but that's not much, is it? You know, that's a pretty good match. Half a milliamp between them, we can live with that. So we do need to now just lift the bias just a shade on there. So let's have a look at doing that. Right, I've just taken the plate voltage to ground, and that is 407 volts. So let's just do a quick calculation with that on the high side, so the 20 milliamp. So 0.020 times 407, 8.1. So if these were just normal 6v6s which dissipated at 12 watts, that would be just about right. 8.4 would be right. So yeah, but with these dissipate at 14 watts, so these S's do, and that gives us 9.8. So that's roughly what we're looking for, 9.8, assuming that gives us 24 milliamps. So let's go in here very carefully, and if we watch that meter, you can see the bias volts is beginning to go up there. That's the drop across the transformer, remember. So let's try 4.5, not go too mad. So we'll leave that, and we're on the blue side, which is the lesser one with slightly up, with half a milliamp less. So let's see. So now we've got, so we'll just go say 4.5 divided by 198. So now we've got 22 milliamps. So yeah, that's all looking good. They're almost a perfect match, those tubes. So that's excellent. So let's just check that plate volts, and we are good to go. 403. See, before we had 407. In fact, that's dropping a bit. We'll call it 403. So there we are, that's that channel. Hone into here. There we go, a bit of rusty playing there. So that's it, that's we've got this up and running now. Whether or not we've cured the fuse blowing scenario, I don't know. It's certainly not blown the fuse while I've been working on it, and obviously we were switching it on and off when we was biasing the amp. So maybe that rectifier tube was the problem, but it's been absolutely fine, so I don't know. So just have to see. It's one of those strange faults, you can't find nothing wrong, but it's either the transformer or the rectifier tube. We diagnosed that in part one, but I think we're there with this one, and that sounds pretty damn good. So there we go, so that'll do it for this one, bit of a short one, but thanks for watching, you all take care, I'll see you all on the next one, bye bye for now.